Once upon a time, two sport-loving German tourists, Karl Kling and Rainer Guenzler, went over the sea to Algiers and took with them a Mercedes 190 diesel car. This strange city, with a midsummer temperature already in January, was to be the starting point of one of the world's largest long-distance car races, the Algiers-Cape Town Rally, whose route runs right across Africa. The harbor had nothing typically African to offer. Like all harbors, it gave the effect rather of an underwater goods station. How peaceful the city appears seen from here. This, however, is unusual. The first sight worth remarking is the famous church Notre Dame d'Afrique. No, that's not it. Nevertheless, it pays to keep one's eyes open. However, when they arrived at the car control post, they had another idea. Instead of driving behind and watching, they would drive in front and win. And so they signed themselves in as late entrants for the race. Their car is examined, as the rules specify, most thoroughly. A short study of the map, then away. Almost 9,000 miles along a route that was mostly unfamiliar. At the beginning, through the Atlas Mountains on quite fair roads. As you see, the project stood under a good star from the outset. The regulation that 3.5 gallons of drinking water per head must be carried seemed to our two friends at first to be completely superfluous, for even the Sahara, with its asphalt road, gave the impression of being completely normal in the beginning. An impression which, however, with the increasing miles, was soon stifled in sand and stone. And when the last telegraph pole was passed, the Sahara, as we all imagine it, began. Gardia, and the end of the first lap of 500 miles. The French military and the Club des Amis du Sahara have organized the rally down to the smallest detail. The times are entered into the record book and countersigned several times for confirmation. While Karl Kling busied himself with the car, Rainer Guenzler took a stroll through the town, film camera at hand. For Rainer had taken it into his head not only to serve as a relief for Kling at the wheel, but to film their motorized adventure as well. Here too a typical bazaar, a medley of offices, coffee houses, workshops, and promenading. Although it would be much cooler inside their houses, the people here prefer to spend most of their time on the streets. Even the children learn here to count every penny, and no wonder, with the examples they see around them. For the older people bargain and haggle in a way that leaves the stranger open-mouthed in astonishment. On the marketplace, a veritable mountain of outrageously colorful socks, obviously to prevent losing one's own feet in the sand. Yes, this is indeed a genuine, unspoiled desert town. But for now, farewell, Gardia. As yet, the number of competitors is still the same, and no sand has got into the works. A glance at the map is enough to assure us that it will be some time before any danger of driving into a tree occurs. To try and hold to course, drivers have to use compasses and field glasses in the manner of good seamen. Stop. So far. There goes another member of the rally, driving from the middle of nowhere to the end of nowhere. Judging from the whirl and confusion of tracks, the ignition magnet seems to have moved many a compass needle off its course. The cars had been started at intervals of 5 minutes, and thus no one was in sight from whom one might ask for directions. Kling spurs on the good old diesel, for he who drives slowly in this land is lost. The ground underneath is as though bewitched. The Red Commission knows why it has walkie-talkie sets and aeroplanes on hand. Someone's stuck, but help has already been radioed for. It's quite impossible to extricate oneself alone. That's it. First, scrape yourself out. And then to the rope. By contrast to the regulations governing other car races, here outside help is expressly prescribed. As if sand itself were not capricious enough, its full mischievousness is brought out when the wind joins forces with it. When the sun darkens over and the motor begins to stutter, when one's teeth begin to crunch with no obvious reason, and one can make sand pies inside the car despite closed windows, then the practiced Sahara driver talks simply of a sandstorm. Despite the width of the road, we are suddenly reminded of the necessity to watch out for collisions. Ah, good morning. Is he driving in the wrong direction, or are we? Clear sun again at last. And there, the first trees announce the end of the Sahara. That means that 2,800 miles have been covered already. Well done, Diesel. A strange tower in Agadez, and not an advertisement for toothpicks. Watch out, don't pull at it, for there's danger of it falling down. Aha! Agadez is apparently a harbor town for the ship of the desert, the camel. The camels seem to express everything from benevolent disdain to pity as they look down on their rivals rolling by. One lady rally commissioner has already adapted the color of her skin to that of her surroundings. What a shame that Kling and Guenzler could not wait for the carpet that was here being woven. They would so much have liked to take it with them, but their presence was awaited at the Sheik's dinner table. All they had to do was follow the smell of mutton. The honorable town councillors were, of course, also present. Out of the desert and into the veldt, with no decreased speed. The road becomes less and less a road. It is like corrugated iron, but the diesel car takes everything in its stride. How do you do, sir? Little top-heavy, what? Here too, the competitors were greeted from above. And the rarer the signposts, the more dangerous the pedestrian. Oh no, my friend, overtaking is only allowed on the road. And in any case, all rhinos were disqualified immediately for bearing a dangerous ornamental projection. Stop, we can't drive there. That is the giant river Shari in French Equatorial Africa. Here, ferries are the only possibility. The small amount of traffic does not make the bridges pay. Again, a time check. Our average is now 48 miles per hour. Like fabulous water lilies, the nostrils and ears of hippopotami emerge from the water. On the other side, Kling rolls carefully onto land. And there's someone else, rolling himself this time. But then, after all, he's a 2.5-tonner. Obviously, in the animal kingdom, the safest place for man is on the roof. Step out of the blankets and step into the steppes. Today, unusually enough, the field of competitors lies close on our heels, even though sometimes not a single car had been seen for days. How the low-built Porsche there ever managed to get ahead is a mystery. One of the many thousand native villages. Here, huts, there, bungalows, and many, many children. Truly a free, indeed an almost completely free land. Guenzler allowed himself the freedom of filming the free. The hunched back there with the foot is a baby. Hello, black playboy. The old lady there, observing an old rite, has grown a painted plate into her upper lip. A somewhat impractical beautification, don't you think? Guenzler really has his hands full. Map reading, calculating speed averages, and filming. The roads become more and more unfathomable, and the pedestrians more and more dangerous. Driving, perspiring, driving. Now for a bathe. Or perhaps we'd better not. Who knows what might be swimming about in the Bouali Falls? What are these expensive handbags with sharp teeth called now? No, drive on, friend. We haven't even covered half the route yet. Close on our heels are the Contessa Paolozzi and Sergio Betoggia. Uphill next, forward to the Belgian Congo. We sometimes climbed as much as 7,000 feet. Another 700 miles are behind us, and a luxuriously tiled bath awaits the driver here in Bangui. The city is highly civilized, and they are formal, very formal here. Top hats at midday. Let us look at what the cultured African lady wears in the afternoon. Colorful at all events. Very colorful, and everything completely individual. The show displays everything from a kitchen curtain via sofa cover to plush curtains. And here, something completely different. A man in a sack-style dress to go with the fashionable bow legs. And over there, a turban made of bandages. Next, an original cocktail dress with bow to match. and a discussion about the latest fashion news and social gossip is enough to make anyone thirsty. According to the map, there are absolutely no more roads. Ah, well. The elephants' right-of-way must be strictly observed. They have a preference for sitting down on the cooler. Quick away, our two friends tell each other, and they in turn set the gazelles to flight. What's this? The Southern Star has obviously not escaped the curiosity of the natives unscathed. Or has it melted already? The heat is most bearable with the speed at full throttle. Now we've got over the halfway point. Stanleyville, the radio receivers of the Rally Commission. The whole contest was brilliantly organized. Let's have a look at how our honorable competitors are faring. Just arriving at the car with the unlucky number 13, driven by last year's winner, Bushman. No windscreen and the windscreen wipers on the instrument panel. He probably forgot to observe the elephant's right-of-way. All competitors carried ladders and spades as weapons against the caprices of sand and mud, except for our tourists, Kling and Guenzler, who accomplished everything smoothly and elegantly. On with the race. Have a banana? They grow on both sides of the road as plentiful as daisies, but only a few hundred yards deep. Behind are thousands of miles of unexplored jungle. The mountains in the far distance are so inviting that one looks around spontaneously, expecting to see a watchtower or a hotel. The mountains, too, are covered by the impenetrable masses of the jungle. Hello, what's that ringing? Oh, a missionary post in the heart of Pygmy Land. Good morning, miss. We've got an extra shirt for you. We'll pick it up on our way through next year. The ages of the little men there add up to 350 years. Kling thought he had seen bigger wars. You heard? All at once, the car comes to a stop. Oh, dear, the Land Rover is overtaking us. Something the matter? No, we're at the equator. And rally or no rally, that must be filmed. Filming and winning. Actually, two quite different things. But our competitor is soon overtaken again. Even with the temperature at 100 degrees in the shade, it makes no difference to the diesel. Is that a barrier? A frontier, perhaps? No, it can't be. We're in the middle of the Belgian Congo. And the drums? Oh, I see. It's a one-way street. Well, let's drive on. What a wonderful, almost safe feeling to be driving along a one-way street. For the few cars one meets in this part of the world are mostly without brakes and are driven on the wrong side of the road by a driver who's half asleep. The signalman at the other end of the one-way stretch is sending his colleague the message, "Dear sir, in reply to your respected drumming of today, we would inform you that Messrs. Kling and Guenzler have arrived." A competitor with a 265 horsepower on a narrow roadway, and behind him number 13 with a new windscreen. A service station in the middle of the jungle. Our diesel car takes its 5,000-mile inspection. Kling orders his petrol in good pub style straight from the barrel. Horrocks, meanwhile, tests the undercarriage. En route, the roof had been temporarily underneath. Could happen to anyone, of course. In this Willis Overland is the only Moroccan team, father and son. Watch out, dangerous curves ahead. Elizabethville. At last, asphalt under the wheels again. Rally Commissioner Pierre Bonin offers his congratulations on achieving the fastest daily average. No, thank you. We're non-smokers. The next day was a day of rest, and so we had time to monkey around for a bit. Thus, after a good sleep, we went out to the Zambezi River, taking our film camera along, of course. Here one has, as yet, no idea that the spray hides behind it one of the most imposing waterfalls of the world, the Victoria Falls, which roar down vertically from a height of 350 feet. At the top, 1.5 miles wide, and at the bottom, forming a basin 210 feet in diameter. This wonder of nature can only be fully appreciated when seen from the air. The trip was, of course, somewhat bumpy for our small aeroplane. No expenses were spared. Even a rainbow was supplied. On again with the descent to the Cape. This is British Rhodesia, and with it, real roads once more. Endless straight stretches, a relief for both driver and car, and a dream for every minister of transport, but not only for him. In the distance, the rising mountains announced the approaching Cape, and soon the 31st and final lap is completed. At last, the sea, so much longed for since the departure from Algiers. Cape, the southern tip of this mighty continent where the Atlantic and Indian Oceans meet. Cape Town. And Karl Kling and Rainer Guenzler have 8,800 miles behind them. 8,800 miles across desert, veldt and jungle with a new record average of 50.1 miles per hour. With victory in one's pocket, there's no need to hurry quite as much over the last few miles. Forgotten are all the discomforts, the changes of temperature and of altitude, the tropical damp. Beaming with delight, our friends shake hands all round. Their chief vote of thanks goes, of course, to the diesel that never let them down. So ends the tale of two tourists who took out to get acquainted with the route and who finished up winning one of the world's longest and toughest rallies.